Hi, people often ask me, why do you work for a banker? Let me explain the three different platforms and what the differences are. So, a bank is a lender, or a banker is an employee of a single financial institution who can approve, fund, and service your loan directly using the bank's own money. In contrast, a mortgage broker is an independent intermediary who shops your loan request to multiple lenders, including banks, and on your behalf to find a suitable product but does not use their own money or approve the loan. The banker has their own money and warehouse lines, and they can actually fund their loan. They also have full operations within and under their umbrella, so they have control from start to finish. So, what are some of the benefits between them? A bank, if you walk into a bank, the challenge with that is if you don't get a good loan officer and for some reason they decline you or they can't do the loan because maybe you're self-employed and maybe that loan officer either is inexperienced or they just don't have that type of loan for self-employed, you're going to have to start the process all over again from square one, from the first step. And that can be frustrating because if you're an individual and really don't know a lot about the mortgage industry, which is very complicated, and by the way, we're facilitating the biggest asset that you're going to purchase, then this can be very frustrating. So a broker can be a great solution for you because this individual loan officer works for a brokerage or intermediary who shops your loan request. So they might have access to multiple lenders and banks to be able to start the process for you. However, if they have to start the process over again because maybe the first lender that they chose declined your loan or said, it doesn't quite fit, then you have to start the whole process over again. And that loan officer starts the process over again, in addition to maybe having multiple credit pulls. So you want to be careful of that. The challenge with, or the important factor with a broker is making sure you have a lender, or I'm sorry, a mortgage loan officer who really knows the products, understands your situation, your financial and credit situation, and finds a good fit. Sometimes these brokers don't have access to the right or the most competitive lender either. And so if they don't have the knowledge, the information, or the access, they're not servicing you the best way. I work for a banker. I have always worked for a banker. The main reason for this is because one, I have control from start to finish. And when I say control is huge for me. I have control from the time we originate and take your loan application, pull credit, and submit for processing, underwriting, funding, doc drawing, everything. And I have the ability as a loan officer to actually ask our underwriters direct questions, ask our closers direct questions. Any hiccups that I might see might be involved in this transaction, I can ask up front. So our pre-approvals are true pre-approvals where I can ask the underwriter, are you sure? Is this the income you're confident with using with this situation? So I love that. The other part of it is if for some reason one of our investors doesn't approve your loan or says, no, I don't want that risk, I can go to a different investor within our umbrella. We have access to over 40 different investors, and we don't have to repull credit or start the whole process over again. I can still use the same underwriter and still continue the process. So we don't lose any time. And more importantly, we don't lose control. Our underwriters I have access to, and I can communicate and ask questions over and over again. And because of the company that I work for, we have ability to turn over very quickly. We can close the loan in 2 weeks or less. So that is my preference. That is why I work for a banker. I probably will always work for a banker until I completely retire. And that's just my comfort level of control and access to multiple investors. And again, with the banker, if they don't have access to Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, VA, they're not going to do you justice. Our company is big enough and we sell directly to the investors in addition to having servicers and broker ability. So we really have a lot of flexibility. So that is why I work for a banker. Thank you.